Yeah, okay, that's great. Our next speaker is Professor Aharon Shai, our Rector, Director of Tel Aviv University. Professor Shai is an eminent historian of East Asia and the incumbent of the Saul Eisenberg Chair for East Asian Affairs. He was the founder and the first chairman of the Department of East Asian Studies, and among his other positions in the university, he served as the chairman of the history department. He served as a visiting professor in several leading universities in North America and Europe, and published numerous studies, mainly on the history of China. Professor Shai also wrote 2 historical novels, and in 2007 he was nominated by the government as the member of the Council for Higher Education. Please, Professor Shai.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Ronnie. Thank you. I'm very glad to be here, and I apologize that I also have to disappear because we have the Board of Governors meetings, and every half an hour or so we have a meeting or an event of some sort, and we also distribute today the Dan David prizes for the young generation, because as you know, this is a very prestigious prize of $1 million per each category. And there are 3 categories, the past, present, and the future. And each prize winner, or laureate really, has to allocate quite a substantial amount to the young generation, to people who do their PhDs or postdoc in the respective areas or fields of study. Now, the ambassador has left us, and he was talking about degrees. I wouldn't mind giving him a university degree if he allows us to award the MBE. I think we can, because then we shall have a certain comparative advantage, because every university now gives the BA and the BSc, etc., the master's degree or the PhD. But if we could actually award the MBE, it'll be quite nice, I think. Now, I'm very delighted here, and not least because, of course, I read and studied a little bit about Mr. Michael Whine, MBE, and who was awarded this prestigious title for his services to the community cohesion work with the Community Services Trust. As the ambassador said, it's the CST. And I was very glad to learn about Mr. Whine, and I'm much impressed by his long-time activities. I must say that even though I try to understand the Far East, as it is used to be called, or East Asia, I've studied in Britain, and I've dealt a great deal with British imperialism, but they haven't given me the MBE yet. And in fact, I started with China because I worked on British presence in Asia. Anyway, I know the British and the British Jewish community, services, etc., not very well, but I lived there for quite a few years. And I'm very much impressed by what I have read and studied about Mr. Whine and the Board of Deputies, where he served, the European Jewish Congress, and so and numerous other bodies and organizations. It is really very impressive, I must say. Now, as we gather here, I understand that Mr. Whine, and I'll have to excuse myself if I don't hear him, because I have a question, more than one, to him when he talks. He has been researching anti-Semitism and extremism for more than 20 years, and has been particularly known for countering really hate crime and promoting a good working relationship between Britain's faith groups. And he has written a lot about Holocaust denial and counter-terrorism, and of course his works were published. Now, I'm especially happy that we are going to discuss anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism in the post-war era, though it is specifically in Britain, and I want to say a word or two about what the ambassador said. And I'm glad that this is going to be discussed professionally, because unfortunately, I think, and I'm telling you the truth, I'm a little bit embarrassed or perplexed, rather, at times in light of the fact that these two terms, anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism, have been diluted to a great extent and lost really their meaning. So I don't really know much, and I'll tell you in a minute why, what exactly we mean by that. I thought I knew these terms before. I'm not so sure at the moment, because they have been used quite irresponsibly, I think. And I don't know what we're talking about. I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Here at Tel Aviv University, it's one of the few, I think, islands of pluralism, of liberal thought and opening and openness to various ideas and schools of thought and creeds of all sorts. And we have been recently attacked fiercely, and also whenever we are going to the Knesset, of being anti-Semites and anti-Zionists. And more than once I was asked by some members of the Knesset, and let's say so was the case with Professor Ben Sasson of the Hebrew University, to actually leave the site because we are really enemies of the state. So in fact, I'm saying that, I don't know, I think that we go on, talking about these terms without really understanding, or else that when we talk about it here, it's really much more serious and academic, while in fact outside the university, this is what I mean. I mean, we have reached such a situation where it loses the meaning. This is what I'm saying, because if this university is considered to be anti-Zionist, as letters that we get, of course, from very extreme elements in our society, or anti-Zionist or whatever, and I had to remind, at least in one interview, the interviewer, that it so happened that both the president and myself were liberators of Jerusalem in '67. It so happened we didn't know each other before, and we fought in Jerusalem in Six-Day War, during the Six-Day War, and we somehow regard ourselves as Zionists, maybe as old Zionists, I don't know. But I think that this should be really clarified. And here I come really to some of the points that the ambassador mentioned. And again, I do not pretend to be an expert like Dina Porat, for example, on the matter, but I just say as a commoner that indeed I don't know if parts of Israel are anti-Semites or anti-Zionists or whatever. So I don't know what does it mean when we say that Britain is, or that some universities are. Because if you use it, and again, I make a distinction between what is said in academia and among intellectuals when we try to define the term in a much more responsible and scientific, to some extent, scientific manner, and what is being used outside, extramural, really. So I really think, and if I don't hear myself, Mr. Whine, I'm sure I will learn about it and will be delighted to read, really, to clarify some of these things, because otherwise we simply get lost. And I hope that this gathering will help us to some extent clarify this. I might be wrong, but anyway, these are some thoughts that I had. And when you talk about hate crime, that Mr. Whine was fighting and countering, I must say that just to look at the letters the Rector's office or the President's office get almost daily, one is really quite embarrassed and finds it most difficult, and it's impossible, as we very often find, to reason. So I think that we do have hate crimes, or on the verge of hate crimes, also in this country. Nevertheless, I'm sorry that I've delved into this serious question, but I think it should be clarified, and I'm sure the participants here would help us in this respect. Thank you very much.